right, I'm going to make a new recipe that I have not posted before. One of my neighbors is learning how to eat plant-based, and he is really enjoying my cooking and said that this was probably the best dish that he's tasted. It's like a stovetop mushroom and hash brown casserole. So these are the ingredients that I'm going to need. I'll have all of those posted underneath when I write out the directions. But of course we have hash browns, I have mushrooms, all of my seasonings, I have onions, some different colored peppers, and then and some kale back there, which I also add as a seasoning vegetable. So I will be right back. These are the seasoning vegetables that I'm going to use. I have onion, some dinosaur kale that's chopped up really nicely, and then my red and orange peppers. I'm going to water saute these in a half cup of water and about a teaspoon of better than bouillon, which will make my stock. I'll be right back. Here is what it looks like now. I'm about ready to add in my seasonings. I'll be right back. This is what it looks like with all of my seasonings on top. I added some cayenne pepper, smoked paprika, thyme, garlic powder, and sage. And the only other seasoning I'm going to add will be some balsamic vinegar that I'm actually going to sprinkle directly on the mushrooms. So let me stir this around and get those mushrooms cut out. All right, I added in the mushrooms. I have some baby Bella mushrooms and some white button mushrooms. About 3 pints of them. I cut them really big, you see that. And then I just sprinkled about a tablespoon, about a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar on top of them. Stirred it around just a little bit, and now I'm going to put the top on it and let that simmer for about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. Oh yes, it's been about 10 minutes, and this is the way it's supposed to look. See, the mushrooms are cooking nicely, and that's the perfect amount of liquid. See that amount of liquid? Because when I put the hash browns in, it's going to absorb some of that liquid. This is a casserole, but it's an on the stovetop casserole. So I'm going to get my frozen hash browns out now. I could not find the ones that I could usually find that have no oil. These have a little bit of oil, but I have to make do with what I have because I won't be making any more runs to the supermarket anytime soon. This is really exciting. These are the ones that I found before that have no oil in them. If you'll see the side, let me see if I can zero in right there. It shows that there is absolutely no oil in this one, and I am so excited. I thought that these were the ones with oil. So let me get these in there. This is what the package looks like. All right, I put about 3/4 of the package in there. I'll save that other little bit for just some hash browns for later. I am not going to stir this yet. I'm going to put the top on it and let the hash brown sort of defrost a little bit, if you will, and then I will stir it around. So I'll put the top on for about 2 minutes and then I'll stir it. I'll be right back. All right, I just turned the light down a little bit. I didn't want the glare on the top with that bulb up there, but I want you to see what it looks like. See, I have the top on it. I'm going to let it cook. It's going to probably be about 3 or 4 minutes, not just 2. But this will allow the hash browns to defrost just a little bit. And keep in mind, I did not put any more water. I just had that half a cup of water because mushrooms make their own liquid. And then I'll know if I need to add any more water once I start stirring this thing around. So I will be back in about 2 more minutes. All right, this is what it looks like when it's all stirred around. It's still not fully cooked. Some of the hash browns are still slightly frozen, but most of them have defrosted. At this point, I'm going to add some cayenne pepper sauce. This is the one that I like. Okay, and I think I added the equivalent of about a teaspoon maybe. And then of course you can add more when you eat it. But I'm about to put the top on it now, stirring occasionally, and let this cook for about 15 minutes. All right, here we are. Now, I did not have to add any extra water in mine. If you're not using a heavy duty non-stick skillet, or pot with yours, you may have had to add a little water, and it's easy, just a little bit at a time, and it loosens up at the bottom. I've got one of those little fancy ones my kids gave me for Mother's Day a couple years ago, one of the diamond, Swiss diamond pots, and I just love the way that this one works. But you may have to add a little bit of extra water. Also, just taste a couple of the pieces of hash browns. If it's tender to your liking, then it is done. Not really sure what I'm going to call this yet, but once I make the video, I'll come up with a name. But this is an absolutely tasty, tasty meal.